whatever path you are on, whatever inspired you to come here today, we honor you and we welcome you. And now, our message.
I had the best Mother's Day present yesterday. My son and his beautiful wife gave birth to our second granddaughter. Yeah. So I'm sure you can catch either Michael or I with our phones because we have many photographs of Lily Jade, who's just such a blessing and Kylie's newest best friend. So I got back from a cruise several weeks ago, and I was trying to figure out, well, what pearl of wisdom can I give that I received from the cruise, because I wanted to come back and share with you. So today I have a couple. The first one is, we had a great speaker, the keynote speaker. Her name was Reverend Sheila McKeefen. She founded a church, a New Thought church in Jamaica. And she gave a couple of great talks, and she also led a workshop. And during that workshop, she asked us, and there was a group of maybe 75 of us, mostly ministers of New Thought, and a few practitioners, and then some congregational members of centers around the country. And she asked us, when it gets a little bumpy, when the road gets a little tough, what do you do? And so it wasn't your typical workshop where we all listened and then broke off into dyads and did work and processes and things like that. We just simply, for 2 hours, talked about ways that we handle life when it gets rough. So I thought, well, I take pretty good notes, and so I transcribe my notes and I have them for you. So there's a list of 40 plus things that some of your peers, people like you, people like me, that are studying New Thought teachings do. So they're back on Lyle's Awakened Heart bookshop table. So please go ahead and grab one if you'd like. It's called Shared Wisdom. That's one of my little pearls for you from the cruise. What did I call it? Cruising Wisdom. Yes, Cruising Wisdom. So last week I talked, our theme for this month is attraction. And we're learning about the law of attraction and how to really become conscious co-creators of our lives. So as I dive into the law of attraction, the number one step, and I talked about this last week, oneness, my talk Oneness, is really understanding who you are as an aspect of the divine, as an individualized expression of God, to absolutely understand the power that you have in that awareness, in understanding that you have the ability to tap in to the infinite mind, the realm of potentialities and possibilities, and understanding your oneness with that, having that ability, being aware of where you fit into the grand scheme of things. We're equal, we're all the same. It says in that list of things to consider when you're experiencing a bump in the road. No, I can't remember what it says on that list, so I won't tell you. I'll just suck on my lozenge for a minute. You'll read it, and you'll laugh when you read it, because you go, yeah, that was the one she was going to say. Anyway, getting back to oneness. So when we truly understand that we have the ability to, I know what it was now, that there are no suits, like a card deck, there are no suits. There's no kings and queens. We're all wild cards. We're all equal in that way. We're just wild cards in this deck of humanity, and we're each given the same faculties. We have this amazing mind. So I'm going to dive into the 6 faculties of our mind today, so that you can understand and embody this idea that you are the creator of your own experience. That you can actually use your mind effectively to have a life that you love. Wouldn't all of you want that? I mean, isn't that why we're here? Because we want to be co-creators of our lives and have a more successful, meaningful, loving, caring, creative, abundant experience.
Yeah.
Some of you.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So, the name of my talk today is Master of the Mirror. Master of the Mirror, or Mistress of the Mirror. I maybe like that one better. Mistress of the Mirror. No, Master of the Mirror. So, we are the master of our own minds. And what do I mean by mastering the mirror? Well, in order to understand what I mean about mastering the mirror, you have to have that, who am I, firmly and clearly identified for yourself. That you are an individual aspect of the divine, here to utilize the power of your mind, your imagination, your desires, to bring in a life that makes sense for you. Last week I mentioned that we each have a gift, or many gifts, to bring into the world. So once we understand that we are responsible to be a co-creator with the divine in creating the life that we love, and in doing that, we serve all of humanity. If everybody on the planet was doing what they love, that supported growth, love, creativity, innovation, success, if we are all doing that, we would up-level our awareness and truly live in that field of oneness. So mastering the mirror requires that you have that understanding. And then how you master the mirror, the reflection, what's out there. This is the mirror. Because the world around you will always mirror back to you who you are. Ouch. Sometimes it's great and sometimes not. So did you hear that? As the master of the mirror, you are in charge of what shows up. And some of you might say, oh, well, not always. Sometimes things happen and I didn't have anything to do with that. And I agree, sometimes those things do happen. But you are the one that is responsible in how you handle what shows up. So as you settle into mastering your mind, you then naturally begin to become the master of the outside, of what's showing up, of what the universe is reflecting back to you from your current state of awareness and attention and these other mental faculties. So the 6 mental faculties are, does anyone know them? No. You will. You do know them. Number 1 is imagination. Number 2 is the will. Number 3 is intuition. Number 4 is perception. Number 5 is memory. And number 6 is reason. Now that sounds reasonable, right? All of you would agree to that as you sort of dissect this. What are our mental faculties? So imagination, it's probably the most powerful faculty we have. Our imagination. We can use our imagination to cast a vision in the future of something that we would love. That's such good news. That is such good news, to know that we can use this amazing mind that we have to visualize, to fantasize about something we want. And I don't mean tangible goods necessarily, but it works with that too. I mean a more rich, satisfying, fulfilling life. I'm talking about imagining the you would truly love to be. That if all of your excuses and your reasons were dropped, you would be that person. So if money, if time, if energy, age, socioeconomic status, if none of that was important, none of those were reasons to hold you back from being the you would love to be, who would you be? We can utilize our imagination to draw that image into our heart, the you that is liberated from all of your fear and doubt and confusion. And we can actually start to build a relationship with this idea, this fantasy. And as we do this, that new version of you, that new life, that new reality, I'm going to call that a paradigm. That paradigm has within it the wisdom that the current you is seeking. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Whilst the current paradigm you have, which is your set of beliefs and thoughts and habits and life as you know it, whilst it's probably working really well, this one is better, maybe. Yeah? Yeah. So from this current paradigm, we may not have the skills required to get here. So we have to break the habit, the mental habit, of thinking in this way and having the life that we create today and repeating it over and over again. Every morning we wake up with the same old set of thoughts and beliefs that keep this current life in status quo. So using the imagination, jumping into a new paradigm, even if it's in our imagination, we can then feel, we can zip ourselves up in the skin of the man or woman that's living in that greater enhanced version of your life. And through meditation, mindfulness, we can communicate with that new paradigm and allow it to instruct our steps. Allow it to build our consciousness so that in today's paradigm, in today's, this moment right now, we can begin to vibrate energetically through our conscious focus of attention on the new paradigm and that new consciousness. And in the face of facts, meaning in the face of those things that maybe aren't working so well in this paradigm today, in the face of the facts that you lost your job, you having a bad time with a certain loved one, you're going through a transition, you've lost something, you're in the face of facts, we can tap on the resource of our imagination and the new paradigm to help us move in that direction and not stay status quo. So our imagination will help us to develop new ways of thinking and new ways of acting that align ourselves with our new paradigm. Has anyone read Napoleon Hill's The Science of Getting Rich? Well, in that book, it's not really about getting rich. Well, it is, but it's about getting a rich life. He says we have to think in a certain way and act in a certain way to have a certain thing. So, I could go on and on about this. Maybe on my talk should have been the imagination. Think in a certain way and act in a certain way. come to class if you're interested in more of this. So, first faculty of the mind is the imagination. The second one, the will. The will. Some of us have a strong will, and some of us not so strong. But if we tap into our will, especially when we're focusing on something that we want to manifest, a life that we want to draw forth, and we decide, we pay attention. We simply pay attention. What am I paying attention to? And do I have the will? Do I have the confidence to claim this? Does this align with my purpose? When you can identify these things, you can then develop the will to then take the steps and act in a certain way and think in a certain way that align with your paradigm. The next one, intuition. You know, I know that most of you in this room are probably aware of your intuitive faculties. You probably pay attention to those hunches that you have, or those little flashes, thoughts, or call so-and-so, or make a left, or make a right, or I'm encouraging you to pay closer attention to that still small voice within you. That wiser voice, maybe. Maybe you call it the voice of God within you. Or maybe you call it your higher self, the wiser self. Maybe you don't know how to do a certain thing, but there's something inside you that does. That voice. Trust it. Listen to it. This is another way of mastering the mirror. Because change happens in here, and then it is reflected out here. The next one is perception. Henry Ford says, you think you can, you think you can't. You're right. You think you can, you think you can't. You're right. It's about your perception. I heard this great story about perception. Once there were 5-year-old twin boys, one a pessimist and the other an optimist. Wondering how two boys who seemed so alike could be so different, the parents took them to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist took the pessimist into a room piled high with new toys, expecting the boy to be thrilled, but instead he burst into tears. Puzzled, the psychiatrist asked, "Don't you want to play with these toys?" "Yes," the little boy bawled. "But if only I didn't break them." He was scared of breaking them. Next, the psychiatrist took the optimist to a room piled high with horse manure. The boy yelled and yelled with delight and clambered to the top of the pile and joyfully dug out scoop after scoop, tossing the manure in the air with glee. "What on earth are you doing?" said the psychiatrist. "Well," said the boy, beaming, "there's got to be a pony in here somewhere." I always think of my husband when I ponder that story, because that's Michael. He's the eternal optimist. He's going to look for the pony and you pile in you. Thank God for you. So, how do you see the world? Are you a bit towards the pessimistic side, or are you more towards the optimistic side? That makes a difference in how your mirror, the world of effects, shows up for you. It's very interesting, the subtleties of who you are and how you manage your mind and how it shows up. Haven't you wondered why everyone seems to have a different experience, that two people in the same family can have such a different experience? The next one is memory. Memory. You know, Michael and I just got 2 new cars, so this is really relevant to us. We traded in the one truck for 2 new cars, equal, no, just Pink slips, and that's it, no money. It's perfect. Anyway, you get in and you have your new radio in your car, and you've got the presets. You know the presets? I'm always interested, like the person that owned it before me, what kind of presets they had. So I listened, and yeah, there were sports and all things like that. So I had to change those. So with our memory, we have presets. Maybe you've got some presets that you don't need. Are you programmed into channels? Are you programmed into ways of thinking, ruts of thinking that you might want to change? And create some new presets that are more positive and life-affirming and aligned with the new paradigm. Because what I know, if you don't have positive presets, you need to attract the same as you have now. And if that's working, great. That's great. And a lot of you in this room have been on this spiritual path for a long time, so it's likely that half of you have exactly the life you want. Good for you, and your presets are probably good presets. And then the last one, reason. This is where we live most of the time, in our reasoning mind, our ego mind. The mind that wants to categorize and sort things out and organize, the logical mind. The reptilian brain, the fight and flight. It's kind of all mixed up in the way we've evolved as humans. We've got this very highly intelligent mind that can reason just about anything. We've created all kinds of wonderful things in the world through science and technology with our reasoning mind. But it's time, as we wake up and we start to master the mirror, that we learn to discern. We learn to make wise choices about what path to take, what to agree to, what to say no to, what things to pick up and what things to let go of. So we're being called to learn how to discern. You know, am I saying yes to this out of the ego? My need to please, my need to fix, my need to be right, my need to have more? Or am I saying yes to this because it feels like it's best for me and for all those involved? Discern between your ego and your essence. We can use our reasoning mind in that way. Where's my little clock? Oh, it is. So, learning about these faculties of the mind, all 6 of them, will help you to attract what it is you want. So people say, well, I'll ask you, so what do you want? What would you love? Close your eyes for a second. Imagine your life 6 months from now. If everything turned out better than you could have ever imagined, everything turned out, just check in with different areas of your life. How would your health be? If it was the way you love it, how would your health be? How would your relationships be? How about the way you spend your energy, the things you do, your work, your hobbies? What would that look like if you were loving it? Everything unfolding wonderfully. Be that woman, be that man now. How about your finances? What would they look like? What would your relationship with money be? So come back. So you all had a little visit into the new paradigm. Could anyone not image the future in that way? Some people have more difficulty in imagining that way. So I encourage you to think about this over this next week. To use your imagination to think about a life that would be richer and fuller. A life that would truly enhance your experience, your family, your relationships, your day in and day out life. And start to have a relationship with that. And start to zip yourself up in the skin of that man or that woman that is enjoying that level of success, that level of love, that level of creativity. And I believe, I'll challenge you to this. Do it for a week, every day, in the morning, and then before you go to bed. Revisit this vision. Zip yourself up in the skin and feel the energy of it. And see if your life doesn't start to reflect more of what you want. Because when you're in that vibration, of gratitude and love that is stirred up when you're living a life that you love, the universe, it seems quite miraculous, but it's not. The universe seems to show up as opportunities, as ways that will help you to move in the direction of it. We live in a vibrational universe. And when we can be consistently in a vibration, attuned with what it is we want and love and desire, that will serve everyone, we will begin to truly understand what it means to live the life we were born to live. Thank you. I'd like to close with a prayer. I simply turn within and go to that sacred space within me that knows the truth, that sees only perfection, that knows infinite possibilities and potentialities, that is absolute wholeness and wisdom and beauty. And when I'm in this place, I see all beings in this space. And as I continue to exist in this frequency, I know that I can utilize my mind to tap into the infinite mind and to make a ripple of change in the fabric of reality. Let's take a breath together, breathing. So I ask each of you to bring to mind your vision of life 6 months from now, what it is you would love, financially, relationship-wise, health and well-being, and how you spend your energy, what you do with your time. And what I know about these emerging visions is that they are seeking expression by means of you. our intuitive faculty is presenting these ideas as a blueprint. So I speak my word today that each of these visions unfold with ease and grace, and each of these visions support all of humanity in being greater expressions of love. I know that we are so blessed and grateful, all of us in this room, for everything that we've received today through this talk, through these friendships, through the music, through the children, and through the mothers, through this amazing feminine energy that we all so much love. We are so truly blessed for the shifts and the changes that are taking place within us. We are willing and open and receptive now. We say yes to our visions, yes to our desires. And we give thanks. We give great thanks for the ease and flow, and for our wonderful minds. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you for blessing us with your presence today and being a part of the Satya Center. You're invited to join Reverend Allie and Reverend Lyle each Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for your dose of connection, inspiration, and co-creation. The Satya Center is located at 795 24th Street, Ogden, Utah. For directions, a map, and our service times, please see our website, thesatyacenter.org. This program was brought to you by the kind donations from the members of the Satya Center. Thank you.